each one's a missile, by the way. That's really impressive.
Today's Ignite the Truth teaching comes to you from a place every Israeli knows all too well. I'm sitting in one of Jerusalem's public bomb shelters. Now, over the past 2 years of war with Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and their puppet master, Iran, every Israeli has spent countless hours hiding in a shelter like this as the air raid siren screams and ballistic missiles the size of trucks tear like bright ribbons of fire through the sky overhead. Alrighty, and here we go. We do have a siren. You can hear it in the background. And there all the park mommies and kiddies into the shelter. This is a communal shelter. You have never seen this shelter before. Throughout the war, family members, friends, and even perfect strangers have asked me, aren't you scared? And honestly, my answer was always, not really. Alert? Absolutely. Nervous? Yes. But scared? Oddly enough, no. But all that changed on April 14th, 2024. Earlier that month, an Israeli airstrike killed several Iranian Revolutionary Corps guards in Damascus. Iran vowed retaliation, and for days we knew something was coming. We just didn't know when that something was coming and what that something would be. And then, just before 12 p.m. on April 13th, the IDF announced that Iran had launched hundreds of drones toward Israel. Everyone had 3 hours to prepare. And so Israel did what Israel had done countless times in the past. Sleeping children were carried into safe rooms and parents settled in for the wait. But see, my husband and I didn't know any of this because that night, we'd gone to bed early with our phones on silent. So shortly after 1 a.m., my daughter woke up screaming from a nightmare. I climbed into bed beside her, but she wouldn't settle. That's when I felt her bed vibrating as the earth began to rumble. Odd, I thought. My mind was kind of still thick with sleep, so maybe the construction crew across the road started early, I thought. But then the shaking continued, now accompanied by this low growling that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. And that's when the siren started screaming. I don't remember grabbing my daughter. I don't remember opening the door and rushing down to the shelter. But what I remember is this. For the first time, I was afraid. About 99% of the 300 Iranian projectiles were intercepted that night. But in the days that followed, fear nipped at my heart. Not during the daylight, no. Always at night. And always as I lay in the same spot next to my daughter where I'd been when the earth started shaking. I'd read her bedtime stories with a knot in my stomach, my ears straining for that first scream of the siren. And then, as her breathing slowed and her eyes closed, I'd pray Psalm 91 over her. He shall cover you with his feathers, my precious lily, and under his wings you shall take refuge. His faithfulness shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in darkness, nor the destruction that lays waste at noonday. And then, one night, as I whispered those ancient words into the darkness, something struck me that now, in hindsight, is so glaringly obvious. The psalmist wasn't penning his reassuring words from some placid place far from the front lines where threats were abstract possibilities. Some future far-off peril he could vaguely see on the horizon, but that God would certainly block because, well, isn't that what God's supposed to do? To shield us from everything that's sad and mad and bad? No, the psalmist wasn't reclining in some tranquil utopia where nothing has ever gone wrong and with God's help nothing ever would, offering his sage advice on how to function in some hypothetical predicament. No,
He was writing from the raging eye of the storm, staring the unwelcome foe right in the face. The threat wasn't hypothetical. He's received the bad news. He's tasted the bitter betrayal. He's heard the dooming prognosis or buried that loved one. But more than that, he's implying that at some point in our lives, we'll be in a certain moment of challenges or jeopardy. It's not what we want to hear, I know. It's not what I want to hear. We want God to shield us from everything that's bad and sad and mad. We want His pledge that scary things won't happen. But that's not reality. In fact, He promises the exact opposite. In this world, Jesus says, you will have trouble, but take heart. Take heart, He says, because I have overcome the world. Yes, there will be terror by night. The arrow does fly by day. The pestilence does stalk in darkness, and destruction does lurk, waiting to lay waste at noonday. It's all there, real, present, petrifying. Psalm 91 doesn't sugarcoat it. The command isn't, don't see the terror or pretend it doesn't exist. It's don't be afraid of the terror. Not because the suffering isn't real, it is. Not because you're invincible, you're not. But because of who covers you, even in terror. Maybe your terror by night doesn't sound like sirens. Maybe it's a doctor saying, that's not the result we hoped for. Maybe it's a retrenchment at work, or a betrayal of a loved one. Maybe it's the silence in your house after your children moved out, or a diagnosis, or watching someone you love slip away one memory at a time. Whatever it is, and we all have something. God doesn't deny its existence. Instead, He says, I see it too. I know exactly how terrifying it is. And I'm covering you with my feathers. I'm tucking you under my wings. My faithfulness, not your strength, not your courage, and not your ability to keep it together, is your shield. So, here's what I learned in bomb shelters like these. The choice isn't between feeling fear and not feeling fear. The choice is what you do when fear comes knocking. Do you let it cripple you? Or do you run, fear and all, into the arms of the one who says, I've got you? The promise of Psalm 91 isn't that scary things won't happen. They will. Not that we won't feel afraid. We will. But that in the middle of that terror, when the arrows fly and destruction prowls, there is a refuge. There is a shelter. There are feathers covering us and wings tucking us close. And from that place, from under His wings held by His faithfulness, we can look terror in the eyes and say, I see you, I feel you, but I'm not afraid. Because He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In Him I will trust.
If this teaching blessed you, help us pass the blessing on. Ignite the Truth is brought to life through the generous support of Christians around the world. Partner with us, share it widely, and get ready. Another teaching from Israel is coming your way next week.